Alright, this is a 2017 KTM Freeride 250R. I just got this. I just bought it the Wednesday before Thanksgiving last year, 2018. And I gotta tell you guys, I love this motorcycle. It is a lot of fun. I did some upgrades to it. And I wanted to kind of share a few things that maybe may help other owners out who are looking to buy some aftermarket parts, those who ride off-road and want to do some upgrades to it, and just kind of give a little bit of info on what I found with this bike. I want to start back here at the rear wheel. So far I bought almost all of my aftermarket parts from AOMC, and I can't say good enough things about that company. Great company, and I've really had a good experience dealing with them. This part here that I put on there, that disc brake guard, was by far the most difficult to install because of the modifications I had to do to the part itself to get it to work. Of course, all aftermarket parts, you know, there are some adjustments to be made, and not all of them fit perfectly. See if I can get around the back side of it to show you how it's installed. You see how it's wrapped around that disc brake bracket there. Getting that to fit required a lot of adjustments and grinding and filing it down while still keeping it well, strong enough to do what it's meant to do. So this particular model has given me, you know, quite a few issues on the install, but so far it's worked once I got it on there. But it did take quite a bit. When you first get it, you try to mount it up and you'd think that it wouldn't work, but with some modifications, obviously you can tell you can get it to work. But it took a lot of grinding and filing and adjusting, and after that, getting the rear wheel back on was a little tricky. Made things, of course, tighter to get on, but it wasn't too bad. And if you're careful, you can do it, and you should be okay. But that particular brand is a little tricky to get on there because of how you have to modify it to get it to work. Other than that, I've got, of course, the P3 carbon exhaust. Now, my advice with that is take your exhaust off. I did it while leaving the exhaust mounted still onto the bike, and of course these things are extremely easy to install. You got one clamp up here in the front, and then you've got the bolt hole for the mount in the back there. Getting that to line up is the tricky part, that back bolt there, and it's much easier to do when the exhaust is off the bike. So that's my advice. Take the exhaust off, and you'll probably have a lot easier time doing it. Of course, you can see the alt-rider foot pedal there. It makes a world of difference off-road, and the wider foot pegs. I went with the Tusk, and I like those a lot. I also have the Tusks on my 2013 KLR, and I've had a lot of luck with those pegs, so I went ahead and bought a set for this one too. I've gone with the P3 carbon skid plate. No real mystery there on how to install that one. It went on just fine. Now the front disc brake guard, that I was a little concerned about at first. I was afraid I was going to have some problems with that mounting it too. Of course, it mounts much differently than the rear disc brake does. This one actually has a spacer. You take out the stock spacer and mount in the new spacer, and that's how this plastic guard mounts on there, and it went on perfect, no issues at all. Like that. Liked how that went on a lot. It was very easy. The master cylinder guard for the clutch master cylinder down here. This was also very easy to install and well worth the money. If that chain comes undone and smacks into that, you're obviously going to have some problems off-road. So went ahead and did that install too, and it was also very simple. The other part that I did was this piece here for the chain guide, lower chain guide. Now, anybody that knows anything about these bikes knows that these tabs the chain guide connect to, those tabs are very easily broken off when you ride over logs or especially rocks, things like that. Now on the install on this, it tells you that there's 2 holes up underneath here that you have to drill. Some of the newer bikes have the holes pre-drilled into the swing arm. This model bike actually had one of the holes drilled. Now this part does come with a tap, so you do tap out the threads. So all I had to do was drill one of the holes. The other one was already drilled out. I just tapped it and then lined it up. With this was also a little tricky. Once you get the 2 bolts installed under here and tightened up, you slide these other 2 in and just keep everything loose, and it'll go on, and just tighten it up once you have both bolts all the way through and lined up. Don't try to tighten one up and then try to get the other one done, because you'll be fighting with it forever. Other than that, it went on really well. No real issues there. Again, it was just a little tricky trying to get it on there. I haven't really done a whole lot else to it. I would like to go with the, can't see if you can see the head up in there. I would like to go with the high compression head at some point. I was thinking about the Electron carburetor with a Scalvini exhaust, but I have not decided really on if I'm going to go that route or not yet. So far this bike has been really good. Oh yeah, I also put the ROX 2-inch risers on the handlebars, just in case anyone's interested. No, you do not have to have extended cables. Your stock cables will work just fine, and you just of course have to take off the front mask here and route a few things and move a few things around, but other than that, it goes on quite easily. I had a few problems with the dealer when I bought this bike. They apparently didn't have the key for it, so I had to buy a new lock to lock the steering. Not that I really need it, but it would have been nice to have that. The dealer I bought this from really ruined the whole experience for me. I bought this from Beach Boulevard Motorsports here in Jacksonville. The two of the mechanics up there are, well, they're just a real piece of work. They have no problems lying to your face and making you believe something that just isn't true. Apparently they assume that you don't know anything about motorcycles, and it just, man, I tell you what, those lies just flow right out. I first got this bike, again, it's a 2017 model. I bought it in November of 2018. Of course, sitting on the showroom floor, the gas is going to go bad, the battery was not charged, and all that's fine. They charged the battery up. I only live a few miles away, so I was going to just ride the bike home. But on the way home, it, of course, did not make it. It broke down because of the bad gas in it. And then, once we got it, fortunately, I was very close to the shop when I got a hold of the salesman. We got it back over there, and the mechanics proceeded to tell me that it's not supposed to idle. It's a two-stroke, and that you're supposed to sit and blip the throttle. Of course, I've been working on motorcycles for a very long time. I'm not the best in the world at it, but I know enough to get me by, and I know enough to know that that was just crap. They were lying to my face. I knew that, and having conversations with these two guys, both of them, was pointless. So I got a hold of the salesman again, called them out on the nonsense they were trying to get me to believe, made them take the motorcycle back and get it to idle for me. So far, it's been okay. I have not ridden it very much. I work a lot, but the time I have spent with it, I've had a lot of fun with it, and it's run okay. When I did get it back, because I did not trust anything that they were telling me, I went ahead and checked all of the fluids on it, and I found that the crankcase oil was extremely low. So they let a brand new bike come off of their showroom floor, low on crankcase oil, bad gas, and then wanted to proceed to lie to my face. I will never be using Beach Boulevard Motorsports again for anything. And I just want to use this as a buyer beware for anybody who has bought from them or who is thinking about buying from them. Just be careful. Not everybody up there is bad, but these two mechanics up there are sure pretty hateful to their customers, wanting to lie to their face like that. I didn't appreciate that, and honestly, if someone didn't know as much about these machines as I do, then they would have been taken advantage of and probably spent the majority of their time with this bike trying to keep it running. That was unacceptable to me. I've worked for motorcycle shops before. I've pulled brand new motorcycles out of the crates before and delivered them to customers. I've been in customer service for many years. I understand how to treat people. And honestly, I didn't appreciate that too much. And they have done nothing to try to remedy anything at all with it. So, I mean, all I am right now is grateful that I have a motorcycle that I'm going to be paying for the next number of years, that it does actually run for now. And it has so far, it's been okay. But again, Beach Boulevard Motorsports, Jacksonville, Florida, stay away from those guys. Don't trust anything they say. The salesman up there was okay, but those two of the mechanics are just flat liars. They should not be in this industry if they're going to act like that. It's not fair to customers. And apparently whoever owns the place up there doesn't care about it either. They'll just keep doing what they're doing because honestly there's no repercussions for those guys. You know, if I had known that they treated people like that, then I don't know if I'd have bought from them or not, honestly. I mean, there wasn't a lot of these bikes in the city, and this was really what I was looking for. This bike is a lot of fun. It's great to ride. I have another motorcycle. I ride a 2013 KLR 650 full-time. This is my transportation. This is kind of funny. I got this from Everride's, this seat cover here from Everride, his website. And that was a great purchase too, real cheap. And I tell you what, it makes a world of difference on long trips. I've done a lot of work to this one too. I know that there's a lot of people who hate these bikes, and there's a lot of people who love them. I'm just happen to be one of the ones that loves these KLRs. This is my full-time transportation by choice. I choose to ride full-time. You know, I live in Florida, so the weather permits that most of the time. And I have a company vehicle, so you know, I could work around it. Fortunately, if necessary. But this has been a great bike too. I really enjoy being out and on it, and I've taken this KLR into some pretty hairy situations and made it through very good. Hoping to take this KLR on a lot more longer trips here in the future, here very soon actually. But here is back to the KTM again. A lot of fun, great little motorcycle for just, you know, having a little trail bike. The Rocks risers were by far one of the best things that I did to make it more comfortable to ride. Oh yeah, I also did replace the levers too. But yeah, it's a good bike. So anyway, I hope this helps people who are buying some aftermarket parts for this thing. Be careful what you buy for the Freeride 250R, because they're just different enough to where aftermarket parts are a little weird to fit. It's going to take, in some cases, it's going to take some modifications. In the case of this rear disc guard here, it took a lot of modifications to get that to work, but it did finally work. And again, that just kind of par for the course. I mean, when you're dealing with aftermarket parts, some of them just don't fit right good enough. But I've liked dealing with, I think it's AOMC. and they've been a great company to work with, and I'll definitely be buying more stuff from them in the future. I was considering doing the I think it's bulletproof designs, radiator guards. I'm not sure on that yet though, because I don't know if I'm going to have to modify those any to get them to work, and they're like $200, so I really don't want to buy them just to have to end up modifying the heck out of them if they don't fit, or you know, even sending them back. But so I don't really think I'm going to fool with that right now. Anyway, 2017 KTM Freeride 250R, a lot of fun. Hope this helps for anybody who's looking to buy some aftermarket parts for it. Thanks.